the Air Force Academy, because I had a master's degree already, was very interested in bringing me back on faculty. So in 1963, I returned. 73. I returned for a 2-year assignment at the Air Force Academy in the math department. And then they sponsored me for a PhD. So I went from the Air Force Academy to Cornell University, got a PhD, was assigned to the Air Force Academy again in 1980, and we stayed there till I retired in 88. In that era, there was a lot of proselytizing starting at the Air Force Academy. And it wasn't brought to the forefront until the early 2000s. Air Force officers and chaplains were encouraging proselytizing, evangelicals. And one particular vulnerable Jewish cadet was being proselytized as a freshman, and she didn't know what to do. She actually attempted suicide. And that actually was the best thing that could happen, because then immediately they discharged her, which is what she needed anyway. I mean, she was not well suited for the military. But the rabbi at that time was so oblivious, it was sickening.
It was very sad.
It was sickening, yeah. I did some research, and in 2005, they exposed a commandant at the Air Force Academy. He was a 1-star general who was actually putting religious sayings on his stationery and in his emails. And he was actively proselytizing. A very, very important lesson came out of that from the superintendent. Initially, the Air Force Academy leadership didn't know how to handle it. And so the only thing they did was ignore it and hope it would go away, but it only got worse. And the Superintendent Gould, very wonderful human being, said, first of all, he got the commandant reassigned, but he also said, we can't be exclusionary in the military. That is against unit cohesiveness. And so this idea of trying to proselytize is not good for morale within the military, and we need to stop it. And he's the first person to clearly and publicly say that. And it was way too late, but it happened. It finally happened.
So since then, that was back in early 2000, 2005, yeah. It was exposed. How are things going now since then?
Better. The superintendents are more cognizant of religious freedoms and so on.
Well, and racial and ethnic backgrounds.
Yes, and they're very active in squashing anything that has a bad look to it, whether it's proselytizing or people discriminating against a certain group or whatever. They're far more active than they used to be. A very good friend of ours who we really respect said, there are 3 things college level students want: identity, independence, and sexuality. The Air Force Academy squashes independence and sexuality and just leaves you with one thing. And you can identify with the Air Force, but more important, as I said earlier on, identifying with the Jewish community was very supportive for me, because it's tough, and especially as a freshman. And so that was very helpful. So what did I learn from that? You got to give people that opportunity, at least within the Jewish community. You have to give them that opportunity.